Hi everyone, welcome to my blog. This is a little introduction into my e-portfolio. My name is Isabel Milan. I am a prospective educator and I'm a current student at the University of South Florida. This blog is just diving into like my previous experiences and observations of my school environments. The blog also dives into some examples of lessons plans that I've done and some materials that I have started or materials that I can embed into future lessons that usually connect to technology that I have learned from my EME 2040 class. And I also will share a little bit about my preferred educational philosophy and my statement, and that I hope that through this learning about my experiences, the knowledge that I have, and the passion for teaching, that you will consider me for current or future employment opportunities. Now continuing with a little bit more like about me. Um, I'm a current sophomore at the University of South Florida. My major is pre-early childhood education. I will be going into the College of Education this following fall term, which I'm really excited about. I know that this semester I dove into many classes that were able to prepare me for the education profession, and they allowed me to learn a lot of these things that I mentioned before, like lesson planning, the actual classroom setting by going through observations, and then materials that would be beneficial to implement into my lesson. And I found like the major classes that I learned this from is my technology class, as technology is advancing every day. It's a power source for this new educational journey that many people will be taking on. I know that through the next couple of years, I will develop many skills and knowledge that is necessary to excel in the education profession, which I'm extremely looking forward to. I'm really excited, and I'm happy that I am able to share a little bit about what I've already grasped and some things that I'm still learning, and a lot of those things tend to be technology related. Um, of more about myself, I wanted to tell you all what my educational philosophy is. Basically, I'm very progressivist. I'm on the side of progressivism when it comes to education, meaning that I like to engage my students. I employ more collaborative works in the lessons as I feel that it's the best way that students learn. I want to develop my students not just mentally or educationally in that sense. I want them to develop physically and most of all emotionally as well. I also like to implement various styles that prove that I'm a progressivist because I like to conform in some ways to the experiences of different students in the classroom, as well as helping them be ready for what the future holds for them. Now let's dive into my ePortfolio resume. This will give you as the employer a greater understanding of my background. Again, I am currently at the University of Florida as a sophomore pursuing a bachelor's degree in pre-early childhood education. And throughout this learning journey, I've been able to grasp many of the understandings of what it is to teach, what it is to engage the student, and what it is to work for the student. And I feel that in most ways, I learned that I have to take it off my shoulders sometimes as a future educator um, to understand that these students have great mental capacities of reaching what they need to reach through their own reflection. And so engaging the students in that way is a lot of who I am. And I love to motivate others, not only students, but I'm a great coworker. I love to motivate coworkers to do different types of teachings, to learn new things, and also for me to stand as a platform and help them learn new things. Um, Again, like I mentioned before, I like to offer interactive and engaging lesson plans, and I work in doing so through group projects and group discussion, more like that, and always engaging through feedback and clarification along this course. A few of my education backgrounds is currently, obviously, the University of South Florida. Um, I did a previous associate's in general studies, and now I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's in education. A recent change in the past semester. I previously went to Jefferson High School. I had a relevant coursework with law and criminal justice was what my concentration was in high school. I really loved it, as well as Air Force JROTC. My two previous employments is Walmart and Amscot, which I'm currently working at, where I learned many things, especially customer service, in which it is important that I learn these skills to engage students. Not only I'm engaging with their parents as well, I'm engaging with the community, and I'm working to create this educational journey around these students. It's not just one person, it's not just me and the student. It is definitely other teachers, parents, family, and as well as the community in general who needs to take part in this educational journey. And I have already the skills to build onto people's personal relationships and build rapport. Again, these skills continue through leadership. I've had previous volunteering work that dealt with teaching, tutoring, and mentoring. I hosted a club called Kitty Hawk in JROTC. Through 2 years in high school, I was vice president and president, in which I was in charge of tutoring sessions, mentoring, and teaching other students different topics, and engaging them throughout the school year to maintain great grades for not only our JROTC students, but as well as other students who are able to come in and receive this tutoring and mentoring. Other points of reference that I like to mention is junior achievement. Junior achievement has brought me a long way, and mainly in the way that it has built this connection to teaching and the work that I've done as I've gone to elementary, middle school, to teach about financial literacy. And I just love the idea of being in that leadership role, helping students engage, and the moments that they say, aha, they understand something and they're taking something with them, such as like financial literacy that is so important. Continuing this discussion, I'm also CPR certified, which I feel like is very important in a classroom setting. There's lives at risk if I'm not able to do this. Understanding that many of the ages that I want to help is elementary ages, and a lot of them may not know like the proper way of not putting things into their mouth or not doing certain things that might cause the respiratory tract to be unstable or like insecure. Moving on to samples of my works, there's some sample materials that I have for lessons, and one of them in which I learned in my EME 2040 class, my Technology for Leading and Learning class, and basically I engaged in a discussion of passwords, and it was aligned with elementary ages, so the tone that I used throughout the writing and the type of words or syntax I used was very geared to this audience, and it worked to engage them. It used minimal wording so that they can gain the key points of what key passwords are and the importance of passwords and really what passwords are and what they can prevent you from. I also engage in a discussion throughout this of the best tips to use when making a password and just how important it is to keep your personal information secure. I moved on to a video for technology implementation and language arts education, in which I also did in my EME 2040 class, in which we kind of did sort of a lesson plan in which we engaged virtual reality in the language arts education and how our focus would be implementing VR headsets into actually allowing students to reimagine and gain experiences and write about them. My third plan was a sample lesson plan that I did with my classmates in my EDF 2005, which is my introduction to the teaching profession class. And basically, I used CPOMS. It's a website and that geared me towards the standards for third grade science. And we kind of did a wacky, cool idea on mad scientists and gearing the importance of communication, especially in experimentation. And lastly, I just want to discuss a little bit about my class observation because I found it very important in understanding the true ability to be in that class setting and understand what you expect from yourself as a future educator to implement into your class. And it gave me various options to implement in my class, and like writing on objectives or like certain class discussions or gearing towards groups or individual work, when to use groups or individual work, and much more. Lastly, I like to speak about my blog that that I continuously did throughout my EME 2040 class, and it's basically a blog that introduced various softwares that we did throughout the week. It engaged us into understanding how we felt about the software. We learned various things about the software, and we had to engage in a discussion about that. And we also dictated whether we would use this future software in our future per profession. In my case, most of the items I found very beneficial in enveloping into an actual class or lesson plan. And most of all, I loved the aspect that I got to engage with others. I got to learn new things from my classmates, and they got to see different things from myself, and they were able to give me feedback on the work that I did in an instant. And I feel like I would also implement blogging into my future classes because I feel like it's a great way to conduct discussions within the learning environment. And that is all for my ePortfolio. Thank you.